Welcome back to the pop culture discussion. I am your host, Robert, and today we are talking about the greatest action heroes of all time. Before I start this video, I just wanted to say a huge thank you to everyone who has been supporting my channel so far. I've hit my first goal of subscribers that I was after, so I'm moving on to my second one now, which is super exciting. In a video that I released a little while back, I more than doubled my goal on that, and it means so much to me, and I can't wait to make more videos just like that for you guys. With John Wick Chapter 4 just recently wrapping up at cinemas and Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 just recently getting released at cinemas, they both had some of the greatest action sequences I had seen in recent cinema. And it got me thinking, is Keanu Reeves and Chris Pratt two of the greatest action heroes of all time? Because they very well could be. And then it got me thinking, who else would be on that list if I had to make a top 10? And to be completely honest, being a huge action movie enthusiast, I actually came up with a top 30 immediately. Straight after making that list, I knew that video was going to be way too long, so I was like, okay, I'm just going to cut it back down to a top 10, and I'll have 10 honorable mentions. Those honorable mentions are Samuel L. Jackson, Bruce Willis, Josh Brolin, Mel Gibson, Leonardo DiCaprio, Tom Hardy, Will Smith, Henry Cavill, Matt Damon, and Ryan Reynolds. I'm going to jump straight into my top 10 list with number 10, which is Vin Diesel. He has the Fast and the Furious franchise, the Riddick franchise, the XXX franchise, and Bloodshot. Yeah, he's made a few other action movies as well, but those ones are the ones that really stand out for me. Growing up, I used to love Vin Diesel's movies, and the Riddick movies were legitimately some of my favorite science fiction action movies, and they really put him on the map for me. But the older I got, and the more the Fast and the Furious franchise continued, the quicker Vin Diesel just became a guilty pleasure, campy action hero for me. Out of nostalgia, I do find myself defending Mark Sinclair against my friends who can't stand his films, and the fact he is pretty self-aware that he has become basically the king of campy action movies shows he's definitely more humble than his characters make him out to be.
Do I imagine Dom Toretto and a T-Rex facing off? First of all, nothing is off the table.
He makes those kind of action movies that are so ridiculous that you know you can't take any of it seriously, but I do find myself trying to take them seriously, and I just end up having a laugh. Either way, I'm getting entertained. If I'm not taking it seriously, I'm going, wow, this is insane. If I am taking it seriously, I'm laughing at these movies for being so bad that they're good. Vin Diesel seems to be a bit of a strange fellow. If you've ever watched an interview with Vin Diesel, yeah, he's a bit of a cringy dude. So I'm not quite sure what's going on with that guy. Either way, all of his characters always seem to be these super serious tough guys that could throw you through a wall if you look at them in the wrong way. Coming in at number 9 is Jason Statham. He also has the Fast and Furious franchise, the Transporter franchise, the Expendables franchise, the Crank movies, the Mechanic movies, Death Race, Safe, and the Meg. This is another actor that is very similar to Vin Diesel, in my opinion, where his movies are extremely over the top and you can't really take any of them seriously. But Statham absolutely has some skills when it comes to his hand-to-hand combat, and I remember growing up with the Transporter movies in high school thinking he was like the coolest guy in the world, and I was like, Statham is by far the sickest British action hero of all time. And looking back at it now, I don't really know a British action hero that is better than Statham when it comes to his type of movies. There is definitely something about Statham's charm and charisma on top of his acrobatically badass fighting skills that make him so much fun to watch. And I do enjoy him in the Fast and Furious movies. It might just be a nostalgia trip considering I did grow up with the Transporter movies. When it comes to creatively brutal kills, car action, and easily surviving against ridiculously extreme odds, Jason Statham movies are an absolute go-to for me. Coming in at number 8 is Chris Pratt. One of the reasons that I'm making this list, he has the Guardians of the Galaxy franchise, the Avengers franchise, the Jurassic World franchise, the Tomorrow War, and the Magnificent Seven. This is another actor I know he's made a couple of other action movies and TV shows as well. I haven't seen them. I've been told they're really good, so they didn't quite make the list, unfortunately. But yeah, it's just crazy that the funny, chubby guy from Parks and Recreation is one of my favorite action heroes of all time. Like, this man has completely transformed his career from where he first started. Chris Pratt originally just brought this kind of everyman kind of vibe to his action movies. He definitely did that with the first Guardians of the Galaxy, and I feel like it kind of made him kind of relatable, but he's absolutely a lot more tough, rugged, and badass considering the later action movies he has made in his career. With the impact Chris Pratt has had on pop culture with his charismatic charm and emotional performances he brings to his action heroes, and the way he perfectly balances action and comedy, he more than deserves to be on this list for me. Coming in at number 7 is Sylvester Stallone. He has the Rambo franchise, the Rocky franchise, the Expendables franchise, Demolition Man, Tango and Cash, Cliffhanger, Daylight, and Cobra. I know he's got a handful of other movies as well, but those are absolutely the highlights for me, especially with the Rambo franchise and the Rocky franchise. You got to appreciate Stallone for the impact those two franchises have had on pop culture. Everybody knows who Rambo is. Everybody knows who Rocky is. Even if you haven't seen those movies, if someone goes Rambo or someone goes Rocky, you picture Stallone in your head. You know it's him. Those workout montages in the Rocky movies were definitely high inspiration for me in high school, trying to get in really good shape. I remember listening to Eye of the Tiger on repeat and just remembering what Stallone does in those movies, trying to copy what I could. Obviously, I couldn't do half of what he does. The man is an absolute machine. He was insanely jacked, and he still is to this day, considering he's 1,000 years old, and he still looks more jacked than I ever probably will be in my entire life. So I've got to respect the man for that. For the people who don't really watch Stallone's movies and just think of him as the actor who can't speak very clearly and just mumbles a lot, the man absolutely has some range and can pull out an emotional performance when he needs to. For me, Stallone is the king of inspiring action, both through his actions and his dialogue as well. And he's got some absolute killer one-liners. I understand why people from the 80s consider Stallone as the greatest action star of all time. Coming in at number 6 is Arnold Schwarzenegger. He has the Terminator franchise, Commando, Predator, Total Recall, True Lies, The Last Stand, Eraser, The Last Action Hero, The Running Man, and the Conan movies. Another actor who has definitely made his stamp in pop culture with the Terminator franchise, and another actor who a lot of people consider to be the greatest action hero of all time, especially people from the 80s, and I completely understand that. Not only is Arnold the king of one-liners,
This Green Beret's gonna kick your big ass.
I eat green berets for breakfast.
And right now, I'm very hungry.
but the energy and presence alone that he brings to his movies absolutely put his stamp in 80s action movies forever. Is it to do with his insanely, hugely built, muscular body, or his one-of-a-kind Austrian accent?
Okay, let's make it quick because my horse is getting tired.
It very well could be. Either way, this man is completely unforgettable. Even if you don't watch Arnold's movies, if someone does an Arnold Schwarzenegger impression,
Come on, do it, come on, kill me.
you immediately know who that is. Coming in at number 5 is Chris Evans. He has the Avengers franchise, the Captain America franchise, Snowpiercer, The Losers, The Gray Man, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and Push. I know he also has a few other great action movies as well, but I remember seeing him in Fantastic Four in primary school going, that guy that played the Human Torch, he's going places. Absolutely. We're going to see more of him. And here he is with this incredible list of action movies. Chris Evans' massive charisma and likability automatically make him the best character in every movie he's in, to the point where if Chris Evans is playing the villain, you actually want him to win. Chris Evans stole the scene in Scott Pilgrim vs. the World, and he stole the entire movie in The Gray Man. Not many movies have you supporting the villain, but if Chris Evans is playing them with his charismatic charm and confidence, you very well could be. And Chris Evans made Captain America cool and a fan favorite. So many people didn't care for Captain America when he was just in Marvel Comics, but with the heart, passion, complexity, and awesomeness Chris Evans put into the character, so many people now consider the Captain America trilogy as some of the best MCU content. When Captain America lifted Mjolnir at the end of Avengers Endgame, the audience lost their mind. Would they they have had that incredible reaction if they didn't care about this character in the way that they did because of Chris Evans? Absolutely not. Coming in at number 4 is Nicolas Cage with Face Off, Con Air, The Rock, Gone in 60 Seconds, Kick-Ass, and the National Treasure movies. It's hilarious because now when a lot of people think Nicolas Cage, they look at all his terrible straight-to-DVD releases and go, he is one of the worst actors of all time. But no, he has this incredible list of action movies that make him easily one of the greatest action heroes of all time. And for those haters of Nicolas Cage, guess what? He is an Oscar winner. So, take that with what you will. There is just something that Nicolas Cage brings to movies that no other actor does. And that is Nicolas Cage-ness. The Cage-ness that he unleashes in every single one of his roles is just so bizarre, yet so entertaining. No other actor can pull it off except Nicolas Cage. A lot of his movies, he goes full Cage, either the entire film or for a handful of scenes. He absolutely has dedication to the craft in his good or bad movies. Watch an interview with him. The guy loves what he does. He's not just making these movies because he needs to pay his bills. He's making these movies because he loves to make movies. Coming in at number 3 is Brad Pitt with Bullet Train, Mr. and Mrs. Smith, Troy, World War Z, Fury, Snatch, Inglourious Bastards, Legends of the Fall, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yes, I'm missing a couple of other movies again, and technically not all of these movies classify as action movies, but he's got action sequences within these movies, and they were so much fun to watch. I don't know if it's because he's one of the most handsome men in Hollywood or because he's the king of charisma, but yeah, Brad Pitt is just so good in everything he's in. No matter if it's a drama, comedy, or, like this list, action movies. I thought this man had peaked with Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Honestly, that's one of my guilty pleasure 100% Hollywoodized movies that I just love to watch for just how ridiculous and self-aware it is. But then he went and made Bullet Train just recently, and I was like, wow, okay, Brad Pitt still has it. Doesn't matter what it is, he's still gonna put butts in that seat at the cinema, and people are still gonna pay millions of dollars to watch his movies. Have it be a shootout, a sword fight, a fist fight, it doesn't matter. Brad Pitt always finds a way to make it look super badass. Coming in at number 2 is Keanu Reeves with the John Wick franchise, the Matrix franchise, Point Break, Speed, and Constantine. Again, another actor who's made a few other action movies. Didn't quite make this list, but these ones were the ones that really stood out for me, especially the John Wick franchise and the Matrix franchise. These two movies have made an insanely huge impact on pop culture for the last few years. The Matrix obviously ruling pop culture in the early 2000s, and John Wick absolutely ruling pop culture now. Both of these movies have Keanu Reeves front and center for these franchises. Keanu's stunts and action are some of the most entertaining when it comes to pure slick style and practical realism. And it's him. He is doing all the killing. He's doing the shooting. He's doing the kung fu. He's doing the flips. He's learning the routines and the choreography. You just gotta love him for that. Not only is he insanely entertaining to watch, but he seems like literally one of the nicest guys in Hollywood. Every single interview with Keanu Reeves, you were just like, this man cannot do anything wrong. It's hilarious to see Keanu Reeves as such a nice guy in real life, considering how brutally he kills people in his movies. Coming in at number 1 is Tom Cruise with the Mission Impossible franchise, the Top Gun movies, the Jack Reacher movies, Edge of Tomorrow, Oblivion, Collateral, The Last Samurai, and Minority Report. I know there are definitely a heap of people out there that don't like Tom Cruise, but when you look at his movies, you got to admit, the man makes incredible action movies. And when it comes to the dedication of the craft, I honestly can't find someone more dedicated than Tom Cruise. If Tom Cruise has a movie that has a scene in it of a skill he doesn't know, he will go out of his way to train for months to learn that skill. He won't get his stunt double to do it. He'll do it himself. You gotta love the man for that. And it shows when it comes to the scale of stunts and the epicness of action. Tom Cruise is the absolute king. No actor runs better than Tom Cruise, and that's a fact. And the fact that he broke his foot in the middle of a stunt and he kept shooting to the point where they actually used that scene in the movie. That's a whole new level of dedication not many actors have. Yes, I've seen his rants, and yes, I know all his Scientology stuff is just insane, But I've seen interviews on the other side of that of people saying, yeah, Tom Cruise is actually a really good guy. And he is so supportive. The man just loves making good movies, and it shows. Despite what you think of Tom Cruise, the man can make some of the most entertaining action movies in existence. That was my list of my top 10 greatest action heroes of all time. If you don't agree with my list, you are more than welcome to put your top 10 down, or to just put down the main action hero I was missing from this list. The action genre is by far my favorite genre of film, and I could talk to you all about it all day long. If you haven't subscribed to my channel yet and you're enjoying the content you're watching, now would be the perfect time to do so. So thank you if you're already subscribed, or if you've literally just clicked it just now. It means the absolute world to me, and you're the absolute best. Thank you very much. And I will catch you in my next one.